Good morning, students. Today we are starting our topic with another type of microscope, that is dark field microscope. And this dark field microscope is a modified version of our common compound light microscope. It is somewhat similar to our compound light microscope. Then in what aspects is different from the compound light microscope? Only mainly because of a opaque disc that is placed in the center of the condenser here below the condenser. This is the main difference between this dark field microscope and our common light microscope. What is the difference? Presence of an opaque. Opaque means what? Opaque. Anybody know? Opaque means any area that will not transmit light, that are called opaque. So here the center of the condenser there is an opaque area. Opaque block is placed. Opaque disc is placed. It is given here. So because of this opaque disc, here from the condenser only a hollow cone of light strikes on the object present in the stage or the specimen placed on the stage. Because of the presence of this opaque disc in the condenser, only a hollow cone of light can pass through the specimen that placed on the stage. Understand? So, as such, here there is no light is passing through the central portion of the specimen. Instead, light only covering its margin. So, we can say that only marginal light is passing to the objective lens. As a result, we could see, as in the final image, we could see the specimen very bright on a dark background. Understand? So, in dark field microscope, how we observe the final image, it appears very brighter on a dark background. Here, it's very simple, and as we all learn about the compound light microscope, we all know which are the lenses, everything. Only difference from the compound light microscope with that of dark field microscope is that is presence of opaque disc that is placed placed below the condenser, and because of this opaque disc only a hollow cone of light is falling on the specimen that is placed over the stage. So these are the points you need to stress while studying dark field microscope. Presence of opaque disc in the center of condenser, then from the condenser hollow cone of light is falling on the specimen placed on the stage, and from the specimen only marginal light is flowing to the objective lens. No light is flowing through the center of the specimen. So final image, final image specimen appears brighter on a dark background. What is the important advantage of dark field microscopy over our common compound light microscope? It has better resolution. Using this dark field microscope, we can see very small objects like microtubules. Even microtubules we can observe and view using this dark field microscope. So next is a video clip. In that we can see what's the difference between the final image in a bright field microscope and that in a dark field microscope. After seeing that concept, that idea, how the image is forming, how we can visualize that image formed in the dark field will be clear. So we can go and see that.
I'm going to explain exactly what they are. Here, we're using a mosquito larva as a specimen. This is bright field. In bright field, the light source is placed below the specimen, and so the specimen appears dark against a light background.
This is the specimen. This is the way how we visualize the specimen in a bright field microscope. That's like our compound light microscope.
The light from the light source goes through the specimen and then hits your eye. Bright field is the simplest and most popular method of lighting. Now we're looking at dark field. In dark field, the
This
light
dark
bounces
field.
off the specimen and into your eye. So if there's no object to scatter the light,
Compared with the light field microscope, here we can very clearly visualize the internal parts of this specimen, right? So that's the difference.
you don't see anything, and that's why the
And the
background appears
background
dark
appears very dark.
and the specimen appears light.
Okay, next slide. Next is fluorescence microscope. Fluorescent, that term itself implies what is its difference when compared with the other type of microscope. Here, with the help of this fluorescence property, we are observing the specimen. So, we can go and study what about this fluorescence microscope is working. First point, peculiarity. Here, the most important difference or speciality is its different source of illumination. When compared to in all other cases, the source of illumination is visible light, but here the source of illumination is not visible light, but short wavelength UV light. UV light have shorter wavelength when compared with the visible light. As it has shorter wavelength, it can pierce very deep to almost all layers of anything. So consider that, remember that point, that UV light have shorter wavelength when compared with the visible light. So in addition to that, one more difference here, has filters. In fluorescent microscope, some filters are present. What is its purpose? To absorb the UV light to protect our eyes. Because here, as in fluorescent microscope, the source of illumination is UV light. It may harm our eyes. So, in order to protect our eyes from UV light, there present some filters to absorb this UV light. So, we can next go and see what is the principle of fluorescent microscope. For that, we first need to understand about fluorescence. What is fluorescence? What is photoluminescence? Some terms are there. So, we are just going to see what all those terms. Consider a physical body, whatever it may be. Maybe a cell or any organ, anything. Any physical body. And to that physical body, if it absorb a certain amount of energy, what will happen? After absorbing energy, it is not wasting that energy. But what it is going to do? It emit it in some other form. It emit that energy that absorbed is reappeared in the form of heat or light. The absorbed energy by this physical body again reappear in the form of heat or light. That property of this physical body to absorb light or energy and to emit light, that phenomena is called photoluminescence. What is photoluminescence? Ability of a material or specimen to absorb, don't mistake, to absorb light and to emit light is called, that phenomena is called photoluminescence. That property of physical body is called photoluminescence. അപ്പം ലൈറ്റിനെ അബ്സോർബ് ചെയ്ത് ലൈറ്റ് എമിറ്റ് ചെയ്യുക. That property is called photoluminescence. Next, between the light absorption and light emission, there exists a gap. What is there? Between the light absorption and light emission, there present a gap. Then two more points we need to consider while listening about this gap. First is, if the size of the gap the time, if the lag of that gap is greater than 1 by 10,000 of a second, then it is called phosphorescence. What is phosphorescence? If the gap between light absorption and light emission is greater than, if the duration of that gap is greater than 1 by 10,000 of a second, that property is called phosphorescence. At the same time, if the duration of that gap is less than 1 by 10,000 of a second, then that property is called fluorescence. In the case of our microscope, it functions on the basis of this property, fluorescence property. You just compare between the duration of the gap between the phosphorescence and fluorescence. Which one is more fast? I think this one is the first one. Here it takes gap between for emitting a light after absorption, it takes so much time. But in the case of fluorescence, after absorbing a light beam, it takes only very little time to emit another form of light. So it is more fast. So relying on this principle, fluorescence microscope is working. So we can go to next slide. Then two more terms we need to understand. What is fluorophore? Fluorophore means substance that absorbs UV light and emit fluorescence as visible light. This substance, there are some substance which can absorb UV light, which can absorb UV light, and what will do? Emit fluorescence in the form of visible light. Such type of substances are called fluorophore. A substance that's absorbing UV light and emit fluorescence as visible light are called fluorophore. Then what is fluorochrome? Fluorochrome means they by its own cannot produce any fluorescence after absorbing any UV light. They can produce fluorescence only on combination with some dyes. If we add some dyes to certain specimen, then only it is capable to produce or absorb the UV light and to produce a visible light. With the help of dyes, they act as a fluorophore. Such type of substances are called fluorochrome. Understand? Anybody didn't understand? I will repeat once more. Fluorochrome means there is substance. Then we are adding dyes to that substance. After adding dye to those substance, it gains the ability to absorb UV light and to emit visible light as fluorescence. Then I think it's very clear to you. Then we are going to see about the optical system of electron microscope. Fluorescent microscope. Fluorescent microscopes-ന്റെ optical system ആണ് അടുത്തത്. Here, the case of the optical system, the light source mainly of mercury lamp or xenon arc lamp or tungsten halogen lamp. Any of this lamp can act as a source of UV light for fluorescent microscope. So you have to you try to learn any of these any two of these light sources as the light source for fluorescent microscope. Then next important parts are two filters. Two filters present in electron microscope are excitation filter and barrier filter. These are the two filters. And I will tell about these two filters later while talking about this diagram. Then a beam splitting mirror also present. What is its purpose? To direct what? Light beam to specimen. To direct light beam towards the specimen, there present a beam splitting mirror. And we can see how it is functioning. This is a part of fluorescent microscope. The UV light is coming this way. Here present the first filter, excitation filter. That about this filter I have told you here. Excitation filter. What this excitation filter do? It direct the light towards the beam splitting mirror. And after striking on this beam splitting mirror, light rays is directed towards the specimen placed here below to the objective. And after striking that UV light, it get excited and start to emit visible light. That visible light is passed through this way, and here again present the second filter to prevent or to avoid any UV light. So UV light present here to protect our eyes, and then the only visible light is passing to the ocular or to the camera for taking a photo of the specimen. അപ്പം ഒന്ന് പറയാം, യു വി ലൈറ്റ് ഇതുവഴി വരുന്നു. ഇവിടെ ഫസ്റ്റ് ഫിൽറ്റർ എക്സൈറ്റേഷൻ ഫിൽറ്റർ ഉണ്ട്. എക്സൈറ്റേഷൻ ഫിൽറ്റർ ഡയറക്റ്റ് ചെയ്യും എന്തിനെയാണ്? ആ യു വി ലൈറ്റിനെ നമ്മുടെ ഇവിടെ ബീം സ്പ്ലിറ്റിംഗ് മിറർ ഇവിടെ ലൊക്കേറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ഈ ബീം സ്പ്ലിറ്റിംഗ് മിററിൽ തട്ടിയിട്ട് ഇത് ഒബ്ജക്റ്റീവ് വഴി ഇത് എവിടെ എത്തും? സാമ്പിളിൽ വന്ന് സാമ്പിളിൽ പതിക്കും. അപ്പോൾ ഇത് സാമ്പിൾ അബ്സോർബ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് ഈ യു വി ലൈറ്റിനെ അബ്സോർബ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് വിസിബിൾ ലൈറ്റ് എമിറ്റ് ചെയ്യും. ഈ വിസിബിൾ ലൈറ്റ് പാസ് ചെയ്ത് എവിടെ ഇത് എമിഷൻ ഫിൽറ്റർ വഴി കടന്നു പോകുമ്പോൾ അതിനകത്തുള്ള യു വി ലൈറ്റിനെയൊക്കെ എമിഷൻ ഫിൽറ്റർ അബ്സോർബ് ചെയ്തെടുക്കും. എന്നിട്ട് വിസിബിൾ ലൈറ്റ് മാത്രമേ എവിടെ എത്തത്തുള്ളൂ? ഓക്കുലാർ ലെൻസിൽ നമ്മുടെ കണ്ണിലേക്ക് എത്തത്തുള്ളൂ. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ വേണമെങ്കിൽ ക്യാമറയും ഫിറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ട്. ക്യാമറ അതുവഴി നമുക്ക് നമ്മൾ ആ കാണുന്ന സ്പെസിമെൻ്റെ ഒബ്സർവ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ടൈമിൽ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് ഫോട്ടോ വേണമെങ്കിലും എടുക്കാം. ദിസ് ഈസ് ദ അറേഞ്ച്മെന്റ് ആൻഡ് വർക്കിംഗ് ഓഫ് ഫ്ലൂറസെന്റ് മൈക്രോസ്കോപ്പ്. I think everybody have understand that. Can we go to next slide? Okay. This is a video. After watching this video, I think it will be very clear to you how that fluorescent microscope is working. And as I have already explained to you, its arrangement and the path of the light. This video will enable you to understand very clearly the working of fluorescent microscope. So let's see that.
Researcher will require the use of a fluorescent microscope to visualize autofluorescent cellular structures, fluorescent dyes or stains, or to analyze the expression, modification, and or localization of proteins using fluorescent antibodies by a technique called immunofluorescence.
This is all a fluorescent viewing.
In a fluorescence microscope, the light source travels in a different trajectory than
Here they are comparing now normal compound microscopy with that of a fluorescent microscopy. This is a normal compound microscope. Only difference is there is a battery driven compound microscope. So that's why there's a source of light here is passing through here. Here is a mirror, and after striking the mirror, the visible light is passing through the specimen directly through here. The direction of the light starts from here to this direction. When comparing with the fluorescent, we can see the path is entirely different when compared with the light microscopy. So let's see that.
in the basic light microscope that we illustrated in the microscopy experimental technique animation. Instead of the laser light being transmitted through the sample, as in a simple bright field-based light microscope, the fluorescence microscope uses incident or reflected light. From the laser light source, the excitation laser beam travels through the filter cube, which is used to provide the appropriate wavelength of light to excite the fluorescent molecules or fluorophores used in the sample, then through the objective to focus the laser light on the sample. The light emitted from the sample.
Here we can see that the UV light is passing from the source and directed by this filter. What's the name of that filter there? Excitation filter is there. With the help of excitation filter, it's directed towards the specimen, and after hitting the specimen, it got excited and it start to emit visible light back. That we can see here.
Sample. The light emitted from the sample is then reflected back through the objective and the filter cube, which filters the emitted light to the camera or eyepiece, where the researcher can view the fluorescent signal. One advantage to fluorescence microscopy is that it can be used to detect and visualize multiple fluorescent molecules by simply adjusting the excitation and emission filters to detect the relevant fluorophores in a sample. Fluorescent microscopy also has many
Next is going to tell you about the applications of fluorescent microscopy. What is the uses? Where in which all fields we are using this fluorescence microscopy? So we can see that.
useful applications in the laboratory setting. Fluorescent dyes or stains are used to detect cellular structures. One example
So
of a
detect certain
commonly used fluorescent
structures.
dye is DAPI, which binds to DNA, and a second example is phalloidin, which binds to F-actin. Expression modification and or localization of specific proteins can also be
For
visualized
locating
using
specific
immunofluorescence,
proteins.
or IF. Like immunohistochemistry, IF uses multiple steps to detect specific proteins using antibodies in the sample. In IF, one of the antibody labeling steps utilizes fluorescently tagged
Using this we
antibodies
can
that are
label
detectable upon
antibodies.
excitation using the appropriate wavelength of light.
So that's about. Then I think you understand clearly understand how what's the working of fluorescent microscopy and what's the difference it have when compared with the compound light microscopy. What is the path of that light rays UV light and how it is changed to visible light, all those things. So we can go move to the next slide. This is all about the applications of fluorescent microscope. It is useful in the detection of macromolecules like antigens, DNA, RNA present within the cell. So here I am going to explain you how the antigens are located with the help of fluorescent microscope. So this is a fluorescently labeled antibody. Fluorescently labeled means it can emit visible light when it is hit by UV light. After absorbing UV light, it can emit visible light. So, as it is fluorescently labeled, it gains that property. Such type of an antibody. Then what we are doing with this antibody? This is a cell. Suppose we are taking a cell. Then we are injecting that antibody to that cell and that antibody very precisely go and bind some antigen present inside the cell. Somehow this antigen entered the cell. We have to locate where this antigen is present. So for that purpose we are using this fluorescently labeled antibody. As this fluorescently labeled antibody is injected to that cell, very precisely it go and bind with that antigen and to form a fluorochrome antibody antigen complex, right? It's possible here. Then what happened? Then when we observe this cell under a fluorescent microscope, we can very clearly visualize the position of this antigen inside the cell, because as we watch this cell in the fluorescent microscopy, UV light is passing to the cell. As the UV light reaches this specimen, the antibody, fluorescently labeled antibody, after absorbing that UV light, it start to emit visible light. So, by observing that visible light, we can locate the position. That is an application. Application of what? Fluorescent microscopy. Using fluorescent microscopy, we can very precisely locate the position of antigens. And next is useful in studying banding pattern. In chromosomes, so many dark bands, light bands are present. I think you have already learned this banding pattern in your lower classes. Banding means dark bands actually denotes the location of heterochromatin, and light band precisely denotes the location of euchromatin. What is heterochromatin? What is euchromatin? I think you will be, if you didn't study it in any of your lower classes, you will learn it in your highest semesters of this degree course. Anyway, heterochromatin is the areas of the DNA that carrying genes that are not expressing. The location of it is heterochromatin are those regions in DNA that carry genes that are not expressive, and euchromatin are the regions of DNA that carry genes that are expressive. That are the different bands. And these heterochromatins are highly coiled region, and euchromatin regions are less tightly coiled region. This highly coiled region appears dark, and the loosely coiled regions appears light. Hence, that give light and dark band pattern in chromosome. So this banding pattern here, you just need only to learn or understand and to write only as an application of fluorescent microscope. Using fluorescent microscope we can study the banding pattern in chromosome. Okay, with this we finish today's session. Thank you.